Yo! What's up, GameLeapers? It is, of course, the Jizz, and in today's video, we are going to be revealing the champions and items buffed and nerfed in patch 11.5. That's right, the next patch notes have been listed, so if you want to know if your favorite champion will be affected by these upcoming changes, make sure to stick around for the whole video. As always, when each patch is revealed, there is a lot of commotion and emotion, so let's work out what these could mean for the current meta. Now, one thing I do want you to get emotional and hyped about is the GameLeap website. Hundreds of challenger courses, guides, videos are waiting for you. If you want to take your game to the next level, guys, with exclusive access to these resources, click on one of the links in the description and comment section. Alright, let's get into it, and we're going to start off by talking about a champion nerf that's coming next patch to an AD carry who has seen a ton more play recently. Well, because one might say she is OP. Now, this nerf is to Senna, guys, and specifically to Ginsu's Rageblade Senna, and this item, along with Kraken Slayer, this combo is the reason why Senna has gone from one of the worst champions to one of the best. I'm sure you would have run into this by now in your games, and once you get these two items and a rapid fire cannon on top of that, you are borderline unstoppable. It's very hard to deal with the range, the poke, the slow from Glacial. It's more oppressive than months of pro guard ads. Now, the Ginsu's interaction itself, which Rider taking aim at, works like this. Senna's auto attacks deal an additional 20% of your bonus physical damage as on hit, meaning that on every third auto attack with Ginsu's, you deal that damage twice. This also decreases your Q's cooldown by an extra second, so with the attack speed buff from a couple of patches ago and the attack speed from your first three items, you are throwing out more on hit than Kayle was during the pre-season. I'm not going to lie, a nerf does seem kind of warranted, having abused it more than a few times recently, and we've also seen it played in pro play as well. I mean, how many of you saw the Senna Sion combo from G2? So the Senna nerf is the first of many in the bot lane, and this next one isn't actually to an AD carry, it's to an AP carry who has a 57% win rate as a bot laner. So this next nerf is to Seraphine, guys, and Riot specifically are going after bot carry Seraphine, who is still proving to be a real handful, even after getting nerfed directly in 11.3 and indirectly in the same patch with Staff of Flowing Water losing AP, and then in this patch 11.4 with Moonstone Renewer's healing nerf. Still though, Seraphine has escaped all of these and remains one of the strongest bot laners in the game. Her poke and harass is unrivaled, and her ultimate is one of the best. So playing her as an AP carry in the bot lane, you obviously get more gold than you would playing her support, and your impact is instant, and your carry potential is a lot higher. Unlike last patch though, none of Seraphine's major items are getting nerfed, so I guess that's a bit of a silver lining, and hopefully the nerf will not affect you guys playing her as a support or even as a mid laner. Alright, let's give the bot lane a short break and focus our attention to the top lane, and who's got TF Blade's number? Because one of the champion buffs in 11.5, guys, is the Jax, who, let's face it, hasn't been making as much noise as other bruisers in Season 11. I mean, just think of Gore Drinker Aatrox or Gore Drinker anyone, to be honest. So yeah, this seems legit. Jax is hovering around a 48% win rate in most elos, and with his biggest counters getting buffed recently, like Riven and Singed, he is struggling to really shine. With damage so high as well, if you jump into a team fight on Jax even with your counter-strike, the enemy team can easily turn that fight around and blow you up. Your DPS is still good, don't get me wrong, but you're not 100 to 0ing opponents like a Camille, for example. So whatever this buff is, I'm excited for it, and hopefully you guys are too, unless you're an ADC main. Now, I know you guys are going to love this next buff because it is to one of the most snowbally champions on the Rift. So how many of you have played against a Duskblade Master Yi this season? It's fun, isn't it? If you're relatively squishy, the Wuju lunatic just Qs you, autos you once, and you die, and then he goes invisible just to top it off. So this same champion is getting buffed, but hey, let's be fair, guys, and that's what the Jizz is all about, a bit of fairness. Yi may have just above a 50% win rate in lower levels of play, but as you start to climb up, this drops close to a 40% win rate. You see, Yi's early clear is not like Hecarim's or Udyr's, and your early game in general is just straight up trash. Like, what do you do if the deer is running at you, for example? So you're very exploitable, and this becomes way more of a problem against good junglers. With the jungle changes as well, it's harder to get your mythic item spike, whether that be Kraken Slayer or Duskblade, so a buff does seem, yeah, the Jizz can see why. But are you guys happy about this? You'll have to let me know in the comments. Now, I asked you what you can do about an Udyr running at you as Master Yi. Well, in 11.5, guys, you're going to be able to do a bit more than running away because the deer is on the nerf list. I'm surprised by this because Riot won't sell as many Spirit Guard Udyr skins, but the truth is, guys, Turbo Chem Tank Udyr has been carving up every single elo to the point where he's now prioritizing pro games. That's when you know. So even though Riot nerfed Udyr in 11.3, this didn't do much, and with the jungle nerfs this patch, Udyr has actually become even more valuable. To compete in this meta, guys, you need someone who can clear camps quickly quickly to not fall giga behind, and Udyr is certainly one of those champions. What Riot will nerf here? I mean, who knows, because it is the Rito balance team. Now, I'm going to give all you AD assassins a bit of love for this next buff, because one item you can build but isn't built enough is going to be stronger. So with all the shielding in the game, you know, from supports and items and Yone, you need an item that is super effective against them. Well, this is where Serpent's Fang comes into play, and the fact this is getting buffed is red hot. So if you're playing Zed, Talon, Qiyana, 11.5 is going to be prime time. Now, it's also going to be prime time for another class of champions next patch, and I want to point out one of these in particular. So Black Cleaver is another item getting buffed, guys, along with more of Malmortius. So if you're a bruiser who can make use of Black Cleaver, you're in luck. And there's one who will actually be broken next patch if he isn't already, and this is Ergod. So in 11.4, Riot buffed Ergod's on-hit damage in his W, meaning that items with on-hit effects like Titanic Hydra, Manamune, and you guessed it, Black Cleaver, are way more resourceful. So the fact that one of these core items is receiving love next patch is nutty. So if you want free LP in a week or so's time, guys, start learning the god. Alright, let's get into the mid lane, and there is only one champion nerf this patch, and honestly, I don't know if there was a big party at Riot HQ last night. This nerf seems completely unjust. So if you have been playing Azir, want to learn Azir, I'm sorry guys, but Azir is this mid laner getting nerfed. Let me just say this, in bronze and above, the Emperor's win rate is just above 44%. 44%, not 54% or even 50. So after buffing his Q cooldown in 11.2, Riot have done a complete 360, and because he's played a ton in pro games, he's suddenly classified as OP. It's not like he has an amazing win rate in high elo either. This is only at 52%. So the Jizz has legit no idea what Riot are thinking here. I mean, who does at this point? And I'm actually a fan of Azir because he takes a lot of skill to play well, but yeah, the skill expression just isn't a thing in Season 11 apparently. So if you main Azir, guys, feel free to share your despair with me in the comments. Okay, let's change the mood and focus on two champion buffs coming in 11.5. Now, if you're a support player, you'll be happier because Karma and Pyke are getting buffed. I swear Riot have buffed Karma every patch this season. Well, here comes another one. Even after buffing her Q and shield, she is still lackluster because this isn't going to stop a Leona from 1v1ing your AD carry. And let's not forget the Moonstone nerf this patch too. Now on the list, it doesn't specify which role of Karma will be buffed, so you never know. Will solo lane Karma be better? Let's hope so, because I know most of you Karma players prefer to not play her as a support. And yes, Pyke. This slippery executor is also getting an increase in power, and this is probably justified. You know, Pyke isn't performing as well as other supports, and with Duskblade's passive dealing less damage because of the 11.1 nerf, yeah, it's a bit of a struggle. Keep in mind that Serpent's Fang is getting buffed as well, guys, which is also awesome, so 11.5 Pyke is looking good too. Now, another bot lane champion is getting an infamous balanced team boost in 11.5, guys, and with Ginsu's Rageblade buffed in 11.4, next patch could be the rebirth of Kog'Maw. Now, the Kog isn't actually that bad at the moment. His damage output is pretty crazy with Kraken Slayer and Ginsu's, but dying 10 times in the first 10 minutes is very achievable. With Senna and bot carry Seraphine weaker next patch as well, maybe, just maybe, Kog'Maw will be one of the best AD carries, and it would be a nice change to be honest. Right, we're gonna head back into the jungle, guys, and there are 3 other champions copying a change next patch. So let's start with the bad news. Rammus is on the nerf list. Now, the jungle changes have hurt Rammus. You know, his clear speed is slow as, I think a cannon minion would do better, but once you get your turbo chem tank, there is no stopping you. Now, what's funny is that in lower elo, yes, Rammus is one of the most successful champions you can play, but in Master and above, the Armadillo has close to a 56% win rate. These champions with chem tank guys are feared, that's for sure. Now for the good news. The 2 junglers getting buffed are 2 champions that are arguably the weakest of their respective class. So for Trundle and Sejuani next patch, guys, who like Rammus have a weak early game clear, hopefully you can become as competitive as Hecarim, as Udyr, as Rammus, as Skarner. We'll have to see. Now the last top laner on this list, guys, and this is the Jizz's last friendly reminder to check out the GameLeap website when I stop talking, because I'm on there too. So if you want the best and freshest league content, our site is all you will ever need. The content isn't just recycled, it's made from the highest level players and coaches in the world, so get clicking. So the other top laner along with Jax getting a nerf is Gragas, and Riot have not specified which version of Gragas they will be targeting, because there is AP Gragas and there is Tank Gragas. Now based on what Riot are doing to Azir, I'm guessing they will nerf Tank Gragas in some way because he's picked in pro play a lot in the top lane as another chem tank abuser, so I'd put my GameLeap subscription on that. Regardless, it's still a pretty whack nerf just because Gragas is certainly nothing special in solo queue, so I guess that's it, guys. If you want to main a champion, just pick something the pros aren't. Unless, of course, it's Shaco. And yes, Riot's hate affair with the Demon Jester is continuing this season, and they have their crosshairs on support Shaco. I mean, how can they not nerf him? He's picked in every pro game and pick ban in high elo, right? Now, what's happened here, guys? I'm pretty sure one of the silver AD carries on the balance team, maybe it was even Mr. Mechanics, ran into a Shaco box level 1 walking to lane, lost half their health, and were like, right, that's it, I'm deleting him. It's pretty comical as well because the majority of Shaco players are junglers. I mean, you're listening to one right now, so nerfing support Shaco is highly questionable. I guess in this meta where hard engages like Thresh and Rel are popular, Shaco is finding some success, but seriously, there are other things to nerf. Surely. But obviously not. Speaking of Rel, guys, she is the final champion on the 11.5 nerf list, and this one seems a bit more logical. And I didn't think I would say that about Riot's balance team, using a bit of logic. But yeah, Rel is a highly contested pick in most elos, and is a very strong support at the moment. She has incredible engage with her W and ultimate, and is one of the few supports who can effectively peel their AD carry in this meta. The 11.3 buffs have pushed Rel to the top of the support win rates, but hopefully they don't nerf it into the ground. Now, we've got 2 more changes we have to talk about, guys, and the first is an adjustment to an item. So if you play Fiora, Darius, Garen, even Ergod, your mythic Stridebreaker is this item. Now, when Riot say a champion or item is getting adjusted, this usually means that champion is getting buffed, or the item. So they might take something away, but they will give a lot back, just like they did with Yasuo and Yone in 11.1. Whether it's something to Stridebreaker's stats, or passive, or even both, we will have to wait and see, and before they remove it. So the last change on Riot's 11.5 list, guys, is coming to an AD carry, who you might entertain playing as a support as well. So if you're playing Twitch, guys, the Plague Rat is getting adjusted in 11.5. Maybe they're making his nose a little bigger or his tail a little longer, but seriously guys, AP Twitch with Nash's Tooth and Rabadon's Death Cap hits like a truck. A couple of Deadly Venom stacks with Contaminate does an absurd amount of damage, especially if you don't have any magic resist, but these items aren't getting nerfed, and apparently neither is Twitch. So if you are making use of this setup, I don't think there's any reason to panic just yet. So those were the 11.5 listed changes, guys. Feel free to leave your thoughts on who and what is getting changed in the comments. Remember to subscribe and turn on all notifications so you don't miss tomorrow's upload. This has been Coach.